The boardroom door clicked shut behind me with the finality of a judge's gavel. I stood there in the doorway for a beat, feeling the weight of every pair of eyes in the room. Marcus Hale, my new boss, didn't even bother sitting down. He loomed in his tailored navy blazer that strained just a little too tight across his shoulders. The kind of guy who practiced his sympathetic smile in the mirror every morning. "Sophia," he said, voice dripping with that rehearsed regret, "we're streamlining operations for the future. It's not personal. Today is your last day at Vanguard Power Systems." I blinked once. Twice. Not out of shock, but because I'd rehearsed this moment in my mind for months. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead like a distant swarm. HR reps sat rigidly at the long oak table, one clutching a manila folder, the other scribbling notes on a legal pad. Marcus stretched out his hand across the polished surface. "Thanks for your service. We'll need your credentials back immediately, including access to that little energy flow project you've been tinkering with." The room held its breath. I didn't take his hand. Instead, I let a slow smile curve my lips. The kind that doesn't reach the eyes, but carries the quiet satisfaction of someone who's already won the game before the final move. "That project," I said softly, my voice steady as a heartbeat, "isn't yours to take, Marcus." His smile faltered for a split second, a crack in the armor. He glanced at HR, expecting backup. Lana, the lead rep, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. The man with the folder flipped pages frantically. Marcus recovered, puffing up. "Per the updated technology agreement, anything developed using knowledge gained here belongs to Vanguard. It's standard procedure." I reached into my bag and slid a sealed envelope across the table. Inside were the receipts of a 3-year shadow war, scanned copies of my original employment contract, Git commit logs timestamped from my home IP in suburban Chicago, cloud hosting bills paid from my personal account under Nexus Dynamics LLC, provisional patent filings, and a notarized summary tying everything to me alone. "Look up Clause 7B in my onboarding packet," I continued calmly. "Employee retains exclusive rights to inventions created off-site, off hours, without company tools or resources. I never signed your new agreement. This belongs to me." The silence that followed was thick, almost tangible. Marcus's face drained of color, but he tried one last jab. "You built this using our infrastructure knowledge. It's ours now." I raised an eyebrow. "No. I built it using my own late nights, my own garage setup, my own rented servers in a data center outside Indianapolis. You confuse access with ownership, Marcus. That's your problem." As I turned to leave, the weight lifted from my shoulders. They thought they had clipped my wings by firing me publicly in front of the team earlier that morning. But I was already soaring. Let me take you back to how it all began. Because stories like this don't start in boardrooms. They start in quiet moments of determination, when no one is watching. For nearly 9 years, I kept Vanguard Power Systems alive from the shadows. I was the lead systems architect in the infrastructure division, the one nobody bragged about at happy hours. While the flashy product teams demoed shiny apps for demand forecasting, I managed the invisible skeleton, load balancers humming across 3 states, failover protocols kicking in during Midwest storms at 2 a.m., vendor tunnels rerouting power when a substation in rural Iowa went dark. They called my work maintenance. I called it survival. My real creation started as a whisper of frustration during a brutal winter blackout in 2021. Sitting in my small home office in Oak Park, Illinois, surrounded by dual monitors and empty coffee mugs, I sketched the first lines of what would become the Nexus Flow engine. It was an adaptive orchestration layer that could dynamically reroute energy loads in real time across regional grids, predicting imbalances from weather data, consumption spikes, and even renewable input fluctuations. Think of it like a chess grandmaster moving pieces across an entire country, balancing pressure so no single area overloads or fails. But I built it carefully. Every line of code written after hours on my personal laptop. Commits pushed from my home Wi-Fi. Servers spun up on AWS under a separate LLC I registered under my maiden name, Nexus Dynamics LLC. Incorporated quietly in Delaware. I paid every invoice from my checking account, printed the original contract, and stored it in a fireproof safe. Clause 7B was my insurance policy, clear language that protected off-the-clock inventions. I'd kept that packet since day one, notarized and dated, because even back then, I sensed the corporate machine's hunger for ownership. By early 2024, Nexus Flow had a working beta. 2 informal demos over late-night Zooms impressed contacts at Meridian Capital Partners. Then came the ownership memo. It arrived like any routine HR email. Action required. Updated technology, IP agreement. Buried on page 6. Clause 4.2 was the land grab. Any invention developed during employment or using knowledge gained on the job becomes company property, regardless of hours or location. I read it 3 times with a glass of bourbon, red pen in hand. This wasn't housekeeping. It was retroactive theft. I emailed legal for clarification. They bounced me to Marcus, who replied breezily, "Standard stuff. Sign it and move on." I didn't. Instead, I pulled out the original contract again, forwarded the memo to my attorney with notes on the conflict, and kept building. Every refinement of Nexus Flow documented meticulously. I knew the storm was coming. The coffee smelled too good that Tuesday morning. The expensive kind HR only brews when someone's about to get the axe or a big bonus is announced. No bonus was coming. I could feel it in the air like static before a storm. My badge still scanned into the executive floor at Vanguard's sleek Chicago headquarters. Marcus hadn't revoked access yet, which told me he was either sloppy or overconfident. The receptionist avoided eye contact. Lana from HR forced a cheerful smile that didn't reach her eyes. The boardroom door stood open. Marcus waited inside, sleeves rolled up theatrically. "Sophia, please have a seat." HR flanked him. Legal pad ready. Folder with a blue sticky note protruding like a white flag. He launched into a script. "You've done solid work here, but we're consolidating for automated systems. Today is your last day." He slid his hand across the table for my badge. "And that energy flow tool, hand over access. It belongs to us now." I sat back, letting the moment stretch. "That's the thing, Marcus. Nexus Flow isn't yours." His face twitched. I explained Clause 7B calmly, watching realization dawn. The legal rep started scribbling. HR exchanged glances. I slid the envelope over. "Everything's documented. Timestamps prove independent development. My LLC owns it outright. Provisional patents filed months ago." Marcus paled but blustered. "You used company knowledge." I countered softly. "Competence isn't company property. Read your own roadmap. Your Q2 rollout depends on exactly this kind of adaptive orchestration. You just fired the only person who truly understands it." I stood and walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. The team had watched the earlier public firing with wide eyes. Now the real game began. Back home, my attorney sent the package to Vanguard's counsel, scanned original contract with Clause 7B highlighted, Git logs spanning 3 years from personal repos, cloud invoices under Nexus Dynamics, LLC docs, patent application for Adaptive Grid Energy Orchestration Engine by Sophia Langford, assignee Nexus Dynamics LLC. A single line. Client's ownership is confirmed under original agreement. Matter considered close. Silence from Vanguard was deafening. No reply Tuesday. Wednesday passed quietly. Thursday brought a forwarded Slack screenshot from a former mentee, failed attempts to spin up a backup orchestration demo. The script relied on deprecated keys. Only Nexus Flow held the live ones. I knew their panic. The demo they'd run weeks earlier for key investors, a closed-door showcase for legacy utilities and funds like Roswin Capital, had been a ghost. Sandbox instance with stubbed backend calls. Cached visuals. Fake live feeds. No real migration.
No predictive balancing. Client noticed.
One reached out discreetly. An analyst traced metadata that didn't match Vanguard ownership. Endpoints died independently. Interest evaporated.
Whispers spread.
Meridian Capital audited my codebase exhaustively. Zero contamination from Vanguard tools.
Clean authorship.
On April 10th, the seed round closed, $14 million wired. Unconditional.
Obsidian, no.
Nexus Dynamics was real. 4 hours later, Vanguard's general counsel called. Voice weary. Sophia. Off-record conversation. She proposed licensing. Joint development. Co-marketing. No Marcus, he was sidelined. I declined calmly. Nexus Flow thrives under independent stewardship. You had your chance. That night, I updated the landing page. Autonomous energy orchestration. Independent. Uncompromised. Added a subtle quote. If you can't build it, don't pretend you own it. The unraveling accelerated quietly. Vanguard's internal threads revealed desperate searches through contract archives for loopholes overriding Clause 7b. Nothing existed. An old Slack chain surfaced. Marcus pushing legal for retroactive clauses. Legal warning about consent requirements. Marcus suggesting burying it in updates. I'd forwarded everything to my lawyer weeks earlier. Their Q1 earnings call had hyped proprietary next-gen orchestration tools for cross-region flow optimization. Shareholders pressed for demos. Marcus promised mid-Q2 delivery. Now the pipeline rotted. Backup teams spent frantic hours reverse engineering, but hit modular. Fingerprinted code traceable to my public keys. DMCA risks loomed. Investor pullbacks hit hard. 2 firms withdrew Q2 commitments after the demo's fakery was exposed. The sandbox had been temporary by design, tokens revoked upon badge deactivation. Meanwhile, my life transformed. The $14 million validated everything. Late nights. Meticulous documentation. The fireproof box holding my original contract. Meridian's forensic team confirmed sole ownership. No red flags. The Global Grid Tech Forum in Denver became the stage for quiet reckoning. Vanguard secured a prime panel. Autonomous load routing, the future of real-time grid distribution. Marcus slated to moderate. I replaced a speaker last minute via Meridian connections. Badge read. Sophia Langford. Founder. Nexus Dynamics. I spotted them in the second row. Marcus stiff. Board members uneasy. Young legal rep clutching a folder. When my turn came, I presented live dashboards of Nexus Flow handling tri-state loads dynamically. Cost comparisons showing dramatic savings. Carbon offsets. Recovery speeds from anomalies. Partners listed. Meridian. Southwest Utility. Others negotiating. Vanguard absent. The board member whispered audibly to Marcus. That's not what we have. Legal flipped pages. Highlighting Clause 7b. Applause followed my segment. Backstage. I passed Marcus and murmured. Still fixing that demo? 3 weeks later. Vanguard's 10K buried a line. Licensing disputes resolved. No retained claim over externally developed orchestration tools. No names.
No pulse equivalent mention.
Quietest corporate surrender. Success snowballed. USBTO provisional matured to full patent. Active. Inventor Sophia Langford. Assignee Nexus Dynamics LLC. Framed certificate hangs in my new office beside a brass, key-etched Clause 7B. People ask, why no lawsuit? No public blast. Because silence, prepared meticulously, speaks louder. I erase their claim as quietly as they tried erasing me. No rage needed when contracts and patents do the work. Vanguard's options narrowed. Write off the quarter. License expensively. Or litigate with discovery risks. Admitting firing the key architect after hyping her tech to investors was untenable. Nexus Dynamics moved fast. Next prospectus highlighted us prominently. Real-time orchestration with unmatched adaptive routing. Founded by Sophia Langford. Former lead architect. Fully independent. IP verified. The moral lingers. Corporations bet on ownership they can enforce when individuals protect their creations wisely. What happens when the machine meets unbreakable preparation? In the end, they sign nothing new. I never did. That difference defined victory. The engine runs cleaner without them. Investors flock to authentic innovation. The question remains, in a world of aggressive IP grabs, how many hidden creators protect their work in silence, waiting for the right moment when the bluff collapses? My story isn't about revenge. It's about foresight, documentation, and the power of original agreements in America's corporate landscape. Clause 7B wasn't flashy, but it was ironclad. They learned too late that firing the builder doesn't grant ownership of the build. Nexus Dynamics thrives. New partnerships form weekly. The forum applause still echoes in memory. Alongside Marcus's flinch. Vanguard's quiet admission in filings speaks volumes. Some inventions can't be stolen. Only earned through respect, or lost forever. The lingering echo. True ownership comes from creation, protection, and patience. What would you safeguard if you knew the rules favor the prepared?